Holy, stay out of the basement, Batman! Tiki here, and I've been watching through Batman the Animated Series for the first time, oohing and awing at every marvelous episode and every perilous misstep along the way, with Dragon at my side. Tell him why, Dragon.
Well, you see, folks, long ago I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way.
And oh my god, we're on to more childhood trauma, folks, because tonight we're talking about House and Garden. Dragon, I don't want to bury the lead on this, man. Those plant babies, they might be the most disturbing thing that I've seen yet on this show.
Do they beat out the original carnivorous plant from the first Poison
I
Ivy
would
episode?
say so. Yes, I would say so. Yes,
Did you ever
definitely.
think it was going to go
Yes.
here with Poison Ivy? Did you ever think we were going to get to, like, pod people, plant babies?
I can't say that I'm surprised, but and still that doesn't make it any more easy to swallow. So overall, Dragon, I like this episode quite a bit. I don't love it. I don't think it's like top tier, but I think it's easily like, a solid B tier episode. I think a solid kind of supporting episode. It's got a really good mystery to it, I think. The best part of the episode is the twists along the way, especially one particular moment involving, let's just say, Batman has oh my god damn it, we have to turn this Batmobile around! I love that moment, Dragon, but, so this episode definitely has some highlights. I can't really put my finger on why it's not, like, top tier. I just think other episodes kind of, like, outclass it, but I certainly enjoyed it quite a bit. I watched it twice, I enjoyed it, so definitely had fun with it, for sure.
All right. So a little bit of context here. So this was directed by the great Boyd Kirkland, of course, for the kind of the Poison Ivy kind of bona fides for a lot of this here. We have Boyd Kirkland who did Harley and Ivy and directed Pretty Poison. So again, kind of the first in the famous team-up episodes. That's under Kirkland's belt. This is written by the incomparable Paul Dini. Of course, Paul Dini, who came up with the Harley and Ivy team-up. And also did Trial recently, so again, yet another kind of Ivy featured episode.
Nice.
Studio worked on this. Again, you can kind of sense the theme here. I'm going with the Ivy episodes. Dong Yang did the animation on this, of course, with Spectrum's Away. Dong Yang will play, and this is like the epitome of what I'm talking about season 3, where they have a house style, where you kind of see again, it's kind of right before we come up with the redesign for Batman, where again, like finally in season 3, they kind of have it under their belt. So like, okay, we don't have to worry about inconsistent animation because Dong Yang's doing most of the animation. Therefore, it's kind of people are getting used to seeing this Batman more frequently. So it's kind of close to like the house style of Batman overall by this point.
Sure.
So, they've done Trial, they'd almost got him, and they did Eternal Youth, all featuring Poison Ivy.
All right.
Let's see. So, of course, this is yet another rehabilitation story for a Batman villain. This is, I believe, the third we've gotten so far, because we saw it with the Penguin. We kind of saw it with Killer Croc, and now we've seen it Poison Ivy. Again, all three very different stories so far.
Seems to be a nice common theme in season 3.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. So, of course, Dini... this episode is, by all accounts, a Dini special in many regards, because Dini loves doing kind of the weird sci-fi stuff, and of course the weird sci-fi stuff kind of very much is akin to kind of Batman in the 50s. You don't really hear a lot about Batman in the 50s, it's usually like the 40s to the 60s, or the 90s, like we currently are finding ourselves in looking back right now. So rarely do you ever talk about the 50s. 50s was when Batman got weird, Tiki. 50s is when like Batman's running the space aliens, he's getting the multicolored
That was Silver
suits.
Age, right?
Yeah, Silver Age Batman.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I know roughly about. I know that Silver Age is roughly when it got weird. I don't know the specifics, but
yeah, like Silver Age is like the 50s and the 60s. That's kind of the Silver Age area, and maybe it kind of come out of it by the 70s. But essentially, you're right in the thick of the Silver Age in the 50s. So basically, it's like Dini's signature is like it's like going 50s sci-fi, but with a character theme, and like making it very reliant on the story and kind of the evolution of the characters. So it's very much an exploration of Poison Ivy and what she wants as a character, and things of the like. And this is the last time. This is the last time you're ever going to see human Poison Ivy again. By the way.
Okay, so we're gonna get plant poison ivy in season 4 then.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So here's the thing. So
Yeah.
just to explain that.
I'm gonna miss. Dragon. You and I believe, share the same sentiment of like we vastly prefer human poison ivy, right?
I do as well. I vastly prefer human poison. I mean, because again, it made the obsession all the more sick and wrong. The fact that
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
human, but she valued plants more than humans. That was what was so cool about it. So speaking of which, so because they never address in the series, what happens, the tie-in comics kind of do. I mean, kind of loosely. All right. So let me tell you what happens, just so you know going forward what the deal is.
Okay.
And again, you don't have to put too much stock in it because they're never going to talk about it. Because I mean, the assumption has always been she experimented on herself, like she's doing like kind of her plant stuff in this episode, and she basically one experiment later, she's more plant than woman. So there's always a lot of spec, and the animated tie it's in Batman Adventures number 16 for the folks out there who can now read on DC Universe, by the way. So again, Tiki, you would also be able to do that on DC Universe.
All right.
So basically, as the end of this episode suggests, Ivy had made copies of herself. So a big running theory that is kind of confirmed in the tie-in comic is that the all plant lady Ivy we get going forward is a plant clone.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting.
Again, they never like canonize, they never talk about it in the show. So
Yeah.
by all means, again, either or, you're perfectly fine. The cool thing is though, in the comic, she meets up with Swamp Thing, Alec Holland, before he turns into Swamp Thing. So it's kind of like adds an extra layer. Like one of the plant clones like shows up on her doorstep while she left Gotham to work with Swamp Thing, essentially.
Uh-huh.
And basically, she explains to Alec Holland, like, oh yeah, I created clones of myself. I didn't want Harley to feel lonely, and just to kind of keep things going in Gotham. So that's pretty much a rationale. But yeah, I had plant clones now and again. Sometimes they kind of show up here and turn the mush, but I create another one. It's pretty much what she does. So like when she went on that plane, she never comes back. Or if you want her to be in the show in your own little head can, say, okay, she just experimented on herself, got more sick and twisted, and she's all plant lady. Any way you want to, any way you slice it. Plant poison ivy going forward. Okay, we're all caught up.
Okay. All right. So, Dragon, let's dive right into the episode then, shall we?
Yes. So we start off with kind of our big mysterious Cactus Man
Well,
climbing.
hold on. Like this is rare that we talk about this, Dragon, but I feel like we should give the title card its due.
Yes, it is a really nice looking title card.
It's one of my favorite title cards, honestly.
Yeah, I swear to you. Here's the thing I noticed that I never noticed before rewatching the episode. If you look at the title card, I mean, I know it's like playing on your face here, but you're so wrapped up in the episode you kind of forgot about it because you're seeing in the title card the little kid's drawing of like the house and the garden and everything.
Yeah.
But of course, in the background we have kind of this beautiful shadow, or like kind of like this line drawing of poison ivy and green, which looks really good.
Really cool. All right. Anyways, yes, Cactus Man.
Yes, we have the giant Cactus Man climbing up a building. Of course, I love how we build up the reveal because we keep putting this guy in shadows until like the big confrontation on the docks later. You don't see this guy until that point, in Flangrata, so to speak.
And then, of course, it's Jim Cummings doing his traditional like grunting and groaning that he's known to do for monster voices such as this.
Which I gotta tell you, because I forgot, because I always go to Tigers, like that's when Jim Cummings first came on to the animated series. Because I remember while the animated series is going on, he's really doing Darkwing Duck. So but bear in mind, big time voice actor, he's doing a bunch of things at the same time. So I shouldn't be surprised. But it's like he so rarely shows up, but he does show up like a bad penny at times in the DCAU. Like not all the time, but he does show up. And I completely forgot that he shows up as the Cactus Man, which is awesome. And like yeah, he's really good as the Cactus Man.
Yeah.
All
right. So, anyways, we get some good scaling shots of the building as he's climbing up it, and we cut to a very Dragon. I gotta say, a very Thomas Wayne looking fellow,
who was also Jim Cummings.
Nice. Tumble work, nice. I feel like I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's intentional that he looks kind of like Thomas Wayne with a mustache and everything. But it is kind of like a nice mirror of like the fact that they're targeting the billionaires of Gotham City.
Yeah, the wealthy bastard.
And that Bruce Wayne would be among them.
Certainly.
So it's kind of a nice build up to Bruce Wayne getting targeted.
So we have this giant, awesome-looking Cactus Man, like, ripping through the safe of this wealthy bachelor. He takes the cash and the jewelry, and there are pearls in the safe, so he might not be too far off with that. But so then importantly, he scratches the bachelor's, like he draws a gun on him, I think, or something. Importantly, he scratches the bachelor. Importantly, he poisons him, so we set up kind of the stakes as well, because like on the sly, our victims are also getting poisoned for the most part. So this guy's scratched, and we then transition to Jim Gordon with a lab tech, basically kind of explaining the poison. We exposit this is the fourth poisoning this month. Let's see. So the victims are alive. They're keeping the victims alive, but there's still no cure until they can until they can ID the poison. Enter Batman, as he likes to do. Bad entrance.
To tell you the truth, he doesn't really have that much of a bad entrance this time around. He just kind of like solemnly walks up.
That's what I'm saying, though, but I just love the fact like Gordon's not even super thrown off by it. It's like, oh, and there's Batman.
Right. Why don't you try the person who concocted it, Poison Ivy? And then we get a little bit of exposition that Ivy has been reformed from Arkham 6 months ago. She's on the mend, and she's gotten married. Yeah,
like now, yeah, she's not interested in single men anymore. Didn't you hear? I love how casual Gordon is about this. Didn't you hear?
I swear to God, when he first mentioned the not interested in single men thing, the first thing that crossed my mind was like, oh, didn't you hear? She's into Harley Quinn now.
Yep. Wrong show, but you're anyway.
Right.
Anyway, so point being, reveals she got married. And of course, point being, Batman very suspect of this. Sounds absolutely like Ivy's MO, but again, we're hearing new information that she has reformed since her last stint in Arkham. Which again, it's kind of nice that we saw her being booked in her last stint in Arkham. So again, with the trial episodes, and we like roughly 6 months have passed since trial. All right, so here's where we enter the weird. I love this with the Dini episode here, where again Sideshow is just completely out of place, but here it's in broad daylight to kind of hint at there's something not right with this episode.
God.
So we have the most Batman broad daylight you're ever going to see in the anime.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. And I love how it's just like it's literally just like Batman and Gordon popping in for like a casual chit chat.
Yeah. It's this is what I'm talking about. Again, this is like
we're one Hamlin short of sitting down and having some tea, Dragon.
Yeah, and again, this is what I'm talking about. Where again, it's like there's something like Batman in suburbia. He's like in the Long Island district of Gotham.
No, I hear you. It's weird.
And again, it's like Dini kind of painting in kind of that
in daylight, in suburbia, like you said.
It's that 50s Batman era of like, again, where things are a little off, but like, we're kind of tying it into the narrative where, yeah, things are a little off. You're feeling that right now. You're going to see why when we get to Act 3. So we meet Ivy, and by the way, Diane Pershing, who's been the voice of Poison Ivy, this is one of her grand episodes, man. She gets to play a lot of layers to Ivy here. We get the reformed Ivy, and of course, like the full-blown Ivy, and then Ivy with the twist at the end. So there's a lot of... She really gets to play the heck out of Poison Ivy in this episode, because she's always been good, but I think I've always loved her in the first episode of Poison Ivy the most, like Pretty Poison, but this episode, it's a giant for her, it's a juggernaut for her in terms of performance. Okay. So we meet Ivy, the happy homemaker, who is now not so much Pamela Lillian Isley. She's now going by Pamela Lillian Carlisle.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we meet her groom, Dr. Stephen Carlisle.
Yes. So he's just kind of like, the typical like nice guy. He informs us that he reformed Ivy when she was in Arkham, essentially.
Yeah, and again, Gordon mentions that he's the liaison between the Arkham board and the GCP.
Oh.
This is why, to me, this fills in the blank of why is Jim Gordon so sold on this? Again, you're gonna find out later in this season, Tiki, that Gordon is he's present during some of the release things for the Arkham inmates and things. So he's kind of on the board as well in a police capacity. You're gonna see that in a really interesting episode later this season, but. The fact is, I love that Gordon is so sold on this because of this doctor really vouched for, and again, basically she's really gone the extra mile, proving, maybe she has reformed to the point where even Jim Gordon, who's like out of all the people in Gotham, would be like, something's not right here. Short of Batman, like, this is The little suspect, but he's selling you on it. Even later in the episode, Batman's going to be sold on it, so it's pretty convincing.
Right. All right, and then in walks the soon-to-be creepiest parts of the episode, the kids.
Yes, so we meet Chris and Kelly, the boys of Dr. Stephen
Note the
Carlisle.
gender-neutral names. Note the
Yes.
gender-neutral names.
File it away for later, for sure. And also, I should mention, speaking of which, Dr. Carlisle, in addition to being an Arkham doctor, he taught criminal psychology at Gotham State. Emphasis, Gotham State.
Gotham State. Yes, yes.
That's going to be important. We might have an in Gotham State that we have established previously. We're going to get there. Anyway, so Ivy seems very on the level, and in the face of the accusation, there's a really cool detail I noticed on the rewatch I never caught before. So in the face of the accusation, that all these poisons have been going on, and she has quite the past with Batman, Stephen, her husband, really leaps to her defense. Now again, he would, because it's her husband, but by the same token, the way he just kind of does that instinctually, because you got to remember, what we're going to learn is that Stephen is kind of, he's kind of all three of our characters within this piece, so he would be the protector of Ivy in many, he'd be both husband...
It's a crazy twist, Dragon. It's one of the craziest twists that I've seen on this show.
So again, he's protective on her in three different levels, as kind of muscle, as kind of in kind of a child's sense, as well as a husband's sense, so he's very, so again, he's very protective of her in many senses of the word. So again, I really like that on the rewatch. Like, oh, that's no wonder why he's like really jumping to her defense on that one. Like, right. So point being, Ivy's making the play that Stephen's love and guidance has brought her into the light, mainly when she met the kids. As the kids enter here, the kids are big Batman fans too, which is really, it's great.
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, kids, let's give Mom a minute alone. Like, oh, and I love that they're calling her Mom and everything, despite, again, obviously, Ivy, well, technically, as far as we know at this point, Ivy couldn't have kids within 6 months, so we think. So we reveal that important detail, Ivy can't have kids. This is a really genius idea that Paul Dini had. Just kind of logically put two and two together here that Ivy...
Oh, this totally feels like a Dini thing, for sure.
Absolutely.
Kind of mixing, like, real problems into villain scenarios.
Because Dini is a man who loves doing his research. And again, you saw, like, in that Harley Ivy episode, she gave Ivy gave Harley a booster shot. That again is the reason Harley can take so many falls out windows and everything, kind of be as bouncy as she is and be as acrobatic as she is. But also, again, that's kind of a sampling of what she did to herself. Like, she got the full-blown treatment. That full-blown treatment of, again, slowly but surely making herself more plant than woman, making herself immune to all toxins and everything, is also... That means all toxins, all foreign entities that enter the body, which means she is sterile, essentially. It means she cannot have children, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So she's basically just saying she can assure them that Poison Ivy is dead. She wants to just kind of live a life of, basically she has a dream life. Why would she want to mess that up, essentially?
Also, she's eyeing the wedding photo on the banister there, which also a little payoff going to be there by the end of the episode.
Yeah. Maybe those photos may or may not be fake. Oh, boy.
Well, maybe. All right. So then we go to GSU, Gotham State University. And
this is honestly, Dragon, this is a fun kind of, like, it's nice to see Dick Grayson just in kind of, like, casual hangout mode. I enjoyed this scene quite a bit.
You gotta remember, Tiki, Dick Grayson's...
It's brief, but it's fun.
Yeah, remember, Dick Grayson's like the biggest ladies' man in the whole DC universe. Like all the women love Nightwing.
Right.
They love Dick Grayson. They go gaga for him. So it makes sense on he would be the big man on campus. So Dick Grayson's popular with the ladies.
So they're basically like implying, like, hey, yeah, let's study, let's study and do some other things. Let's have some fun. Yeah.
Everything, of course.
I love that he's doing like an awkward little dance shuffle thing as he's going in for the kiss.
As he's getting all familiar hot and heavy with Cindy here, he's interrupted by a phone call.
Oh boy. Now, Dragon, do you think that Cindy, do you think he gets these phone calls on a regular, and it's one of those things where, like, Dick Grayson's love life, whoever he's dating at the time, is like, oh, great, it's the mysterious phone call.
I think probably, but I don't think Batman calls, like super often. I think it's just, like, that's the thing. They always wrote out Robin with the idea of like, well, we don't want him in every solo Batman adventure, so we're going to put him in college. So college is always the get out of jail free card. But
Sure.
I'm saying every time he wants a Robin every time you see Robin, like Batman and Robin in an episode, you can assume that that moment happens.
Uh-huh.
So probably, I think you're probably right on that. So anytime you see him in the show, it's like, oh yeah, he's had that phone call.
Right.
So immediately kills the mood, and then Cindy she walks out, and Batman's. I love this.
By the way,
like,
Cindy voiced by Megan Mullally.
oh, we forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Of course, was very big on Parks and Rec, and married to Nick Offerman. A lot of good, really funny.
Uh-huh.
All right, so yeah, so Cindy leaves in a huff. Of course, like I love Batman just kind of trying with the pleasantries. Just he's failing miserably. It's just like, so I didn't call you at a bad time. You're in the middle of anything, are you? Not anymore. Sorry.
Sorry.
So he's asking Dick to check up on Stephen Carlisle, who again teaches at the university, and mentions like, what do you know about Carlisle? Well, I took his class last year. Nice guy. So again, Batman's making the smart play here because he was checking the husband, who again was kind of integral in her release, to see if she's up on the level. Maybe he's hiding something, but also again, if someone's using Poison Ivy's methods, maybe it's the husband. Again, smart call.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he could also be manipulated, as Ivy tends to do with her husbands and her kind of her husbands and boyfriends, and like Harvey Dents, if you will.
Of course.
All right. What happens?
So then Cactus Man bursts in once again.
Yep, Dick thinks Cindy for a second there. Like, Cindy? Not so much.
Nope. Basically, he apprehends Dick, kind of cut to black right as he punches him out. I love the red flashes he punches Dick.
Oh, yeah. Of course, also, again, still silhouetted. We don't see the full Cactus Man. Uh-huh. So, we're at the campus, now we're on we're in the Dick's dorm room here, a little campus crime scene going on here, where poor Mullally, I'm sure, is having a ball here, where Cindy is just blaming herself, and like, oh, I should have left him alone, no, this... And, of course, I love Gordon and Montoya have to comfort her, just, like, oh, no, it's not your fault. You're not responsible for this. Mm-hmm. So anyway, then Bruce Wayne, of course, typically he would be invited to the scene. He is the family member, and again, a little nod to kind of classic '40s Batman, where Bruce Wayne and Jim Gordon, they would have their conversations at times. But again, very logical reason Bruce Wayne would be here. Being the family, and presumably as they exposit in the conversation, Bruce Wayne is the intended target. Basically, it's a ransom job.
Sure.
Of course, like, unlike the other wealthy bachelors, you have something more valuable to ransom. My ward.
My ward. I love that delivery by Colin Roy.
Good. Yeah. All right. So, by the way, I love casual Bruce Wayne. I love seeing Bruce Wayne without the tie on. Looks really good. Okay.
All right, so Bruce Wayne drives away, and he's attacked by Cactus Man!
I love the staging of this so much. Such great staging, where Cactus Man's been biding his time in the back of the car, just as Bruce Wayne's just kind of contemplating and driving away. Still in shadow, which is awesome. Cactus Man is like he's holding the cactus fingers like at Bruce's throat, threatening to poke another air hole in his neck, which is horrifying. So basically, he gives him the skinny on the ransom job here, where he's holding Bruce Wayne Cactus Point. Again, there's a threat of poisoning as far as Batman's concerned here. It's like, oh god, if he could poison me, which is not ideal in the situation. While he's on the road, and again, like while he's trying to drive as well, because he ain't stopping that car right now. $5 million tomorrow, midnight, alone at the docks. Not if you understand. Of course, he understands. We have a great Jim Cummings delivery here. Smart boy, and then. Bam! I love the slam. Just slams his head into the steering wheel, and then he jumps out the car. And of course, Bruce Wayne immediately stops the car, tries to look for him, and it's a no-go. And of course, Bruce Wayne not wearing a seatbelt. I don't know if it would have helped him. Probably not. Just saying. No seatbelt.
Right.
Just saying.
Well, he's like Zach from 13 Reasons Why, Dragon. He'll be fine.
Yeah, sure.
He could be in a car wreck that just flips over multiple times, and he'll be fine.
Difference, though, he's Batman, so I buy it a little bit more.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so Bruce Wayne, he's preparing a little ransom.
I mean,
Now,
didn't you know, Dragon? Being a copious alcoholic just gives you superpowers.
well, yeah, I mean, this is fact, Tiki. I don't know why you're questioning this. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Anyway, so alcoholism aside, so Bruce Wayne prepares a ransom, which, of course, nowadays, post Better Call Saul season 5, we've seen how much space your $7 million occupies. This is $5 million, so it's a little smaller. And you know what? I think the case is big enough that I can buy it. It's a big case, and we don't know like when they've outlawed. Like when in real life we minted the $1,000 bill in like the '60s, but Batman Answers is kind of timeless. So I don't. The point being, it's a big enough case. Let's just go with it anyway.
All right.
Point being, he's got $5 million in a case. He's prepared to pay the ransom. He's not worried about the ransom. He's obviously more worried about Dick Grayson. So let's see. Also, I gotta tell you though, I'm a little bit of a pointless kind of wardrobe change on Bruce Wayne's side of things here, because suddenly he's like in a turtleneck and everything, when he still has like a whole 24 hours the job. He's not going to wear that again.
Right.
Wearing the turtleneck for some reason. I know.
He's just being fashionable, Dragon.
I'm saying, like, where's the jacket and everything? Like he's going to go out somewhere right now, and he doesn't.
Well, sure. Maybe you don't know. Maybe he's going out somewhere. Maybe he's on his way somewhere. You don't know.
Okay, fine.
The show's not Bruce Wayne, the reality show. We don't follow his everyday life day to day.
All right, fine. If we're going to apply some logic here again, he had to go out to procure the money in the outfit he was wearing. Okay,
there you go.
Okay, logic.
There you go.
Mainly, the main reason we do this is to show him change out of his shirt, so he has like a sample of the toxin. He's trying to get a sample of the toxin, maybe some leavings from his trace, trace evidence from his attacker in the car. So that's why he can flip the yellow shirt off. Anyway, so basically, before midnight comes around, Batman. That's right, folks. I said Batman. Is going to do some surveillance in the daytime. Very Batman 66-esque.
God, yeah, it is kind of Batman 66.
And I don't mean just Batman in broad daylight. I mean Batman painfully in broad daylight.
It's bad. It's pretty bad.
So we have Batman in suburbia tailing Ivy from her checking in on Ivy's happy homemaker routine to see if she's going anywhere while she's taking the kids to school. Yeah, Batman with the binoculars and the headset talking to Alfred, kind of reporting in. So we see this is the dumbest shot. Batman in a tree that doesn't cover him at all.
Just Batman, just like on top of a roof of a building, just without cover at all. Just like
I think it's a school too. It's like I think it's a school.
God.
I think there's like a flagpole, so I think it's a school. I don't know. It's the anyway. So like, what's she doing now? So they're buying squash in the marketplace, and then she hasn't done anything. The most criminal thing she's done today is return overdue videotape. She even paid the late fee. It's like, now you know she means business. She paid the late fee.
Back when videotapes were a thing.
To be fair, they don't say tape. I mean, obviously it's tape for what they mean, but I'm saying in terms of like the longevity, video.
All right, fine.
Bear in mind, of course,
back when rental stores were a thing.
All right, fine. Moving on. So Alfred. Anyway, so let's see. So Alfred is. So Alfred's asking, could it be Poison Ivy's actually reformed? And this is a great bit with Batman here. We're saying, I want to believe it. Why can't I? Or again, it's like Batman's dream would be that it would be great for Batman if the villains could actually reform, if we could actually have it go right again. Like look back with the Birds of a Feather with the Penguin. Again, the Penguin. Again, he expected Penguin to relapse, but it was society that let him down here. It's like, maybe it'll work this time. Who knows? I was wrong last time. Maybe it'll work this time. Maybe Ivy will actually be on the straight and narrow. Even Gordon sold on. I mean, come on, man. Like, why can't things work out for a change? Why? So let's see. So importantly, he's at the namesake of the episode. He's at the greenhouse, house and garden. He kind of checks out the place. He then, he looks at, the plants, just the regular flowers and plants. Nothing really super fancy or super carnivorous, dwelling down there. He leaps onto the house.
Like they're fake or anything. It's not like it's a fake garden. That'd just be crazy, Dragon.
Insane, literally.
All right, so yeah, he leaps on. He like in broad daylight just leaps onto the house. Like just this makes no sense, Draken. It just. I mean, to be fair, she does catch him, I guess, so it makes a little bit of sense.
Like
I
Ivy's
just don't know
returning.
how he would think it would work.
Well, I mean, Ivy was coming back, so he's trying to leap to the top of the house before he leaves, pulls a kind of a sloppy bad exit, if you will. And
It is a very sloppy exit.
well, especially by the fact that he gets caught in the vine security system that Ivy has laid out for there. So he's then dangled at the mercy of Ivy now. You know, I love how confident she is in this scene. You know, there are laws against spying. There are also laws against poisoning too. So let's see. So Ivy frames the issue, and this is again a big full circle thing for the ending of the episode. Batman, I've got a nice house, a little garden, again house and garden, and a family that loves me.
Yes.
Why would I jeopardize that? And for the first time in my life, I'm happy. Big line right there. First time in my life, I'm happy.
Sure.
So Batman is beginning to think. I'm starting to think that you're right. Of course, she wishes him luck, and he wishes you too, Miss Carlisle. And again, that's a big. I love that for Batman here. He's like, you know what? He's coming around. Things are actually working out for a change. Of course, he's doomed. Things are doomed to go south. We know this as an audience member, but still, it's like, you know what? Things are coming up Millhouse.
I gotta tell you, Dragon. At this point, I wasn't sure. At this point, I was kind of like leaning towards the husband being the culprit or something like that. I wasn't sure how they were gonna play it.
Yep.
So even as an audience member, just watching it for the first time, I do think the how of the twist is especially fucked up, which we'll get there in a minute, folks.
I mean, speaking of which, for the first time in my life, I'm happy, and the big question is framed in this scene, and again, she is speaking the truth right now, which is very important. She doesn't want to jeopardize any of this, and she does want these things. Just the motive. Basically, we have her motive, but it's with a cost. So there's a cost to getting all these things. That's what's going to be. It's what's going to be the really big head trip of the episode later on. And also, a little side note: Ivy, in the Arkham games, basically by the third Arkham game, and in the Harley Quinn animated show right now, again, Ivy is kind of reformed. She's not exactly a supervillain. When we get to it. So again, she is kind of very capable of reforming. And again, bear in mind, probably Paul Dini kind of laying the groundwork for that with something like this. But still,
Nice.
Okay, so it's midnight.
Right. Yes, so we go to the docks. Dragon, this is a little bit of a weird, like, I don't know, like Bruce Wayne trading off the money to the Cactus Man. It's a weird setup, don't you think? Just by its very nature.
Well, he's trying to get the drop and catch the kidnapper. He's got, you saw the plan that he has cooking with a little jet ski.
No, I'm just saying the fact that the Cactus Man, especially given what we know about the Cactus Man, the fact that he's like intelligent enough to actually like go through with his ransom and everything. I don't know. It's a little weird. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a little odd.
Maybe a little. So we have like the hostage kind of ransom exchange going on here. We have trench-coated Bruce Wayne, which looks pretty neat, and also a really nice fog on the docks going on too. A really nice ambiance we're setting for the whole thing. Okay, so let's see. Of course, he says, "Kick over the case. I demand." He demands to see the boy first. First, the boy, and of course, he shows Robin's kind of dangling on the end of the little cactus claws. Then Bruce Wayne kicks over the money, and of course, they step into the light. Like where's? Sorry, it's the wrong episode. I'm thinking like the trial for a second. I said step into the light. He demands that they release the boy. He demands they release Dick Grayson, which obviously he's not doing. He kind of walks over there, and of course, surprise attack and big reveal what the Cactus Man looks like in Flungrata. Man, we see the full-on Cactus Man with his really screwed up looking face. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's all freaky looking, man. It's cool.
It's kind of Hulk-like with the shorts and everything.
True, but I'm talking about like the face. He's got like the little like.
No, you're right. The face
giant...
it's kind of got like the holes for sure. It's almost kind of reminds me of the Nolan version of Two-Face, with like the big hole in the side of the face.
Sure. I mean, he's got like the stretched out, the kind of the triangular stretched out gums thing, where like the teeth.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so let's see. So point being, we reveal the Cactus Man is full, like, freakish B movie '50s glory, which is awesome. He attacks. He's slicing at old Bruce Wayne here. Bruce Wayne is basically what he's doing here is as he's running away from the Cactus Man here. He's trying to get himself flung off the docks into his little backup plan here. Gets his back scratched up. Thankfully, though, as Bruce Wayne falls off the docks into the water, we reveal he has a protective vest underneath in case he were to get poisoned, so he's covered there. And he kind of gets onto the Bat Jet Ski, man. The Bat Jet Ski, the first appearance.
That's so awesome that he just happens to have one there.
Yeah. So of course he's got all this. Point being, he's planned in advance for this. He's got the Bat Jet. Maybe that's what he was doing with the turtleneck. He was getting the Bat Jet Ski set up.
There you go. There you go. I like that.
Now we're good. Point being.
Because he has to go to the docks on a cold night. I'm sure he needs some coverage.
There you go. Point being, the Bat Jet Ski is set up there. Little costume change. Batman enters the fray right before the Cactus Man tosses Dick Grayson into the water. No loose ends and all that sort of stuff with a hostage situation. I love Dick's reaction here when we remove the blindfold and he gets a good look at this guy for the first time. He sees his eyes going bug, like, oh my god, this is what kidnapped me. So then we have this awesome save by Batman. He jumps out on a jet ski. Awesome bat entrance on the jet ski. He's like riding the dock right in front of the Cactus Man. Batman, this is awesome. He trims his claws as he's getting into a fight with him with the batarangs, basically cutting off the claws so he can't be poisoned. Really good. I love how crippled the Cactus Man is. Like, you cut off my fingers, but again, they're more like these little cactusy claws. So again, it's more
right. Big meaty claws.
Or in this case, big leafy claws.
Oh God.
All right, let's see. So Batman tries tackling him, and he flips Batman, so the Cactus Man flees, because we have to show him later on in Act 3. So the point being, the Cactus Man gets away, but Robin is saved, so we have Batman and Robin in the Batmobile. Robin's kind of remarking, basically kind of covering the plot here a little bit, but no, I'm not dinging him for that. Just like Robin's saying, it's a good thing I wasn't poisoned. I'm lucky I got the fist instead of the poisoning from that guy. Like, why didn't he poison Robin? Because then he wouldn't be able to be in Act 3, so we got to show that, no, he wasn't poisoned. He's all good.
Mm.
Also, again, it kind of fits in the old logic of, it's the old damaged goods philosophy of any ransom. You can't damage the ransom, otherwise why would they pay so much?
Sure.
Alright, what happens?
Okay, so then, oh boy, I love this reveal. So, let's see, so Batman's talking about, he mentions the kids, Dragon. He mentions, Chris and Kelly. And Robin's like, wait a minute, I know Chris and Kelly. I met them when his wife brought them to meet when,
his ex-wife.
Yeah.
Carlisle.
But Carlisle, thank you. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I met them when Carlisle's ex-wife brought them to visit. And you want to know something else? They were girls. And that just, oh man, Dragon, I love how Batman just like, he puts the foot down, literally. It's the ultimate, like, don't make me turn this car around.
So literally, it's a very literal dramatic turn. That's the big, that's the big takeaway. No, but seriously, it's a great, like Batman's no closer.
Twist.
I mean, the important thing is, like, Batman was no closer there, and then Robin given, like, what he learned about Carlisle, and said, wait a minute, Carlisle has... Wait, I thought Carlisle had full custody. That's not the worst part. Chris and Kelly are girls. Like, I just love, like, when the bottom drops out of that scene, like, oh, God, have you seen that? Like, we've been bamboozled. Let's turn around!
It's great. It's great.
All right, so now we're back to the namesake of the episode, the house and garden.
Uh-huh.
So Robin's doing some reconnaissance. Tiki, the commentary for this is hilarious, by the way. It's a video commentary, and again, you gotta remember, with an episode like this, especially with the third act, you really kind of marvel at kind of the freaky, sick, and wrong nature of the episode plays.
Sure.
And Houdini's on the commentary with Bruce Timm, and anyway, the point's a lot of fun. Anyway, so in this bit, you'll notice Robin's doing some reconnaissance. He's going to be going through the house, making sure everybody's in bed, and Ivy is notably missing. And he's flipping off the roof because he's an acrobat. And there's this hilarious gag on the commentary where, as Batman's preparing his little insurance, his little backup plan is going to save the day later. There's no saying, man, Robin's really showing off there, isn't he? It's like basically like Bruce Timm's voice to Batman.
He kind of is, yeah.
And then Batman's they're giving voice to Batman kind of a funny way, saying, your parents died. And it's like, cry me a river. Like, they're acrobats and they died, whatever. It's just like Batman's not impressed at all if you look at it. He's not paying any attention to his showboating. That's anyway.
Right.
Okay, so point being, Batman's prepared a little insurance with the sprinkler system, the irrigation system inside the greenhouse. So that's going to be important for later. We don't know what he did to it, but it's going to be horrifying. All right, so they're making their way inside the place. We have some great lighting using the old flashlight here. Let's see.
I have written down in my notes. Finally, this actually feels like a Batman episode.
Yeah. So what's the first thing they notice when they go inside the place?
Oh dear God! They notice the just the big plants, right? The big pods.
Yeah. Well, I mean like the plastic plants. They find like, oh God, plastic plants, and it's a false little flower.
No, oh yeah, right. I'm sorry, yeah.
Point being, there's like a secret layer and a staircase underneath the whole place, and then we go to the den of 50s sci-fi horror downstairs. So then. We find like a water tank, like a stasis tank, and we have all these vines on a table. So Robin, like out of the water, like pops with these two frantic arms, and it's like, oh God, it's Dr. Carlisle in this little stasis tank. And he mentions in horror, like, oh God, she's insane. You don't know what she's done. She has to be stopped. I'm like, oh God, what is he talking about?
I love the severity of everyone's reactions to what's going on in this act. I think it really makes the impact all that much more.
I thought you were going to like this part.
Oh, yeah. Well, come on. You know me.
So then we have the Unholy Dini reveal, man. Oh, you gotta love the Unholy Dini reveal. When he does this stuff, he goes big, man. He goes big. So the vines on the table also include little seed pods. I'm talking a full 50s B movie, man. Like, attacking up like body snatchers, full on body snatchers, man. Where out of these giants, these seed pods are moving, and you hear someone call. You hear babies call, "Mommy, Mommy."
God.
We reveal these mutant pod babies of Chris and Kelly, of the kids that Batman saw, that were the big Batman fans from earlier, the kids. Yes, but as weird looking seed pod babies, as Batman's response, like, no, and he drops the flashlight in place.
Dragon, when Batman is thrown off, that's when you know shit's real.
And again, look at where season 3 has taken them so far, Tiki. Because again, we have Lazarus Pits, which again is kind of the supernatural, kind of science, and then we go full on supernatural with Avatar, with the mummies and everything, and now we're going back to science fiction, but now we're going like it's not just science; it's full on science fiction, man. Like we're going sick and wrong science fiction. Like, oh God, pod children. This drops. I love how he dramatically drops that flashlight and just breaks. Like, oh God, this is a big deal. It's like, oh God, it's so terrifying. And then enter Ivy on like a Dolly Parton swing of vines.
Right.
Oh boy, and then we have like terrifying Dini exposition, man, in the best way.
Oh God.
Okay, let's see. So Ivy's been creating these half human, half plant hybrids. As Ivy basically exposits it, one kiss is all it took to ensnare Stephen Carlisle. Basically, that's how she got her release from Arkham. She worked up the toxins and the chemicals necessary to like her famous lipstick, kiss the guy, get out of there, and then basically beyond that, used him as the cover story, and then used him for raw materials to create mutant children.
Yeah, and not just mutant children, but mutant children that mutate into the husbands, and then that also mutate into said Cactus Man.
Just this eerie, like, lifespan cycle is just so... That's what's really terrifying, because again, they go from babies...
It's so fucked up, Dragon. This is definitely one of the darkest things we've ever covered on the Batcave so far. Yeah. Just the whole psychological idea of it.
So they're all ensnared in vines through the moving vines as she's talking about this. Batman on the slide during the scene, he's basically pulling out the old bat pocket knife. He's preparing to make his move to get them all out of there and out of the situation, but still he's learning about all the horrible things that she did. And the staging of the scene's really good too. As she's feeding her plant babies, she's feeding them a growth hormone that's going to take effect really shortly. But I love how nurturing she's being in the scene. Like they start off as babies and then they turn to kids.
She's being nurturing about something that's going to kill them in like minutes. That's the fucked up thing about it.
I know. I love how Batman's putting the pieces together too, being a really good detective in the scene here. Yeah, first it's babies, then kids that start to resemble Dr. Carlisle, but then they turn into Stephen Carlisle, and then the Cactus Man who walks in from earlier, and it's the same one because he has like the filed off nails, and then he just melts in front of him. So we see like the life cycle right in front of our faces, from baby to melted Cactus Man, and it is 8 levels of screwed up, my friend. So of course,
it really is.
And of course, Batman's asking like why the whole why the thievery and kidnapping? Well, because it costs money to raise a family, which that's the thing. She does want these things, but again, she just can't get out of the old lifestyle, like plant experimentation and thievery, to keep things funded.
So Batman's like, you haven't changed a bit, have you? She's very defensively. It's like, yes, I have. I meant it when I said I wanted a family that loves me. I just wanted it on my terms.
Okay, this is
and then Robin's just like, jeez, lady, you're nuts.
Well, that's your opinion, and probably the last opinion you'll ever have. Like, a really good report from Ivy there. So this is the huge moment. This is the big moment. This is the reason Dini did the episode here, for this moment where it's like the idea. It's the only way for Poison Ivy to have a family is and the only way Ivy's ever going to reinvest into humanity, because again, she's a character. Despite being human, she's always cared about plants more than humans. The only way she's ever going to reinvest into humanity is through plant life, is through like doubling down the plant obsession, which is so twisted and so cyclical. I love it, how circular it is. The full circle it gets here, where again she's literalizing her worldview of like she's always viewed plants as children. Now she can actually physicalize it. And that's just sick and wrong. So after the "you're nuts" lady bit, Batman, he then springs into action. He cuts off the vines, and basically as the kids are mutating next, I fed them an advanced growth hormone, basically do these really like kind of plant baby bottle things. They're now doing their life cycles are going by within seconds as they turn to Dr. Carlisle and then turn the full-on Cactus Man, like 3 giant hulking Cactus Men in front of their eyes. So Batman frees him. A little great detail here. You'll notice Ivy is pissed off at Batman because he's cutting the vines. Like anything he ever does to a plant ticks her off, and I love that detail, man, because he's cutting off the vines to get him out of there. So Batman initially, he reaches up to the light fixture, shocks the crap out of the giant Cactus Men in front of him so they can make their way to the upper level. But now, the whole family that we just saw, they are now also Cactus Men. So there are 6 giant Cactus Men surrounding them, and they're goners, they're boned. Thankfully, Batman has an escape plan.
Oh, yeah. So the escape plan is that the sprinkler system he rigged with basically a plant killer.
Yeah, weed killer. And also Robin, like, he's guarding Carlisle during all this days, like the hedge clippers and cutting off the nails. Like, anyone else with the weed?
Seeing Robin use the hedge clippers is pretty cool. Little bit there with the action.
Who else wants their weeds whacked? So basically, Batman, he jumps to the ceiling. Now we're on the upper level. He jumps to the ceiling. He basically kicks the sprinklers and the irrigation system. So basically, now that it all goes off and it's all been replaced with weed killer. The insurance from earlier on, they all melt, and then Ivy enters. And this is like another really great part of the episode here. Ivy comes up and she's asking, "What was the tip off? His children?" And of course, Batman, being the great detective here, says, "You couldn't." Basically, you couldn't replicate girls because you had to use Carlisle's DNA. So basically, you rolled the dice with giving them boys. Yes, and then we have the big twist, man. Oh, the big twist. Ivy could replicate her own DNA though. So as the Ivy that we're talking to in this scene right now, full on Poison Ivy, she is. She begins to cough, and she begins to melt like the rest of them. And they have this great delivery by Kevin Conroy. Again, yet another shock and awe moment for Batman. What? He's like, what is this? So she basically dies in Batman's arms as she explains, I guess you're not the only one with an escape plan. Great moment. And again, it's just I imagine that she was in the earlier scene. I think when Batman visited the house, like one of the visits, he was either that visit or when she fully had Batman convinced that she went the straight and narrow. One of those visits was the real Ivy, and once she knew Batman was on her trail, she then chose to leave. So one of those points in the episode, she
I like that.
Leave town.
So it could have been like halfway through the episode for all we know.
It could have been, or it could have been like right after that scene with Gordon at the start. In one of those two scenes, at any point during the day when we saw her like making her rounds, I presume Batman tracked her the whole day. So it's one of those 2 points she left after that scene. Once she fully knew Batman wasn't on her trail at the moment, she probably left. If I'm a betting man, but then again, who knows? Okay. So let's see. So then now it's morning. We have this really weird thing where you see the sun come up too. It's like, come on! I hate
this.
Like Trial did.
You just see Batman standing with Gordon like out in broad daylight, press all over the place.
Well, cops mostly, but yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, right. But still, it's weird. It's off-putting.
So yeah, basically a little wrap up with Jim Gordon here saying, "Oh yeah, we found all the stolen merchandise and the antidotes for the formulas for the toxins, so we can cure all the people who have been poisoned." Basically saying everything's gonna be okay. Mm-hmm. And Batman saying, "I don't think we're gonna see her anytime soon." Then we have this really artful transition here where we reveal Ivy on a plane here that she got on the plane and she left. And as we see her boarding the plane, kind of looking through a little photo album, we have this great kind of like commentary from Batman here. We're saying, we're not going to see her again because Ivy lost everything she had. You know, she said everything she said she ever wanted. For what it's worth, I believed her. Again, that's why he kind of laid off her at that moment there, because he really did believe what she said. She said it was the first time in her life she was ever happy. And we have this great moment where she's looking at a little scrapbook. And this is a really awesome scrapbook, by the way, because this does reference all the Poison Ivy episodes, essentially, where we have the old Harvey Dent news clipping, we have a little bit of Harley and Ivy, and we have her wedding picture, which I'm convinced is the wedding photo from when we were at her house earlier. Mm-hmm. She took it with her, a little tear falls. And even though it was all fake, it was a fake family and everything, it was a family on her terms. Like, she created that family. It's messed up, mind you, because like at any point, like her weird plant babies had to pretend to be her husband. It's like it's levels of wrong, but still,
it's a thought that counts, Dragon. It's a thought that counts.
It is, and again, the big takeaway, like the last note of the episode to me, has been like her obsession physicalized itself, but again, like it did, like she could have reformed. Yeah. Like if her obsession, like she the only way she could ever reform, she'd have to physicalize her obsession. But again, it's like the closest thing she's ever going to do to reform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good episode. So final thoughts from me, Dragon. I think this one's really solid. It's a solid B. It's it's not top tier. It's not anything that's going to be like making my top 10 list or anything. But I liked it quite a bit. I think the strength of it really comes in the writing and in the mystery, especially. I really thought this had some of the best plot twists in Batman so far that we've seen in the animated series. So on that front, it's a very good episode. And I can only imagine that the next episode is just going to maintain this momentum, Dragon.
I wouldn't bet cash money on that personally. But... Okay, final thoughts for me. House and Garden, it's a standout Poison Ivy episode. For me, it's still not as good as Pretty Poison for me. It's still, I think, the benchmark of the Ivy episodes, but this is still a really good one. Ivy, I think Dini's obviously having a lot of fun with kind of the 50s sci-fi era Batman here within the episode. We have a solid mystery. We have a great kind of evolution applied to Ivy here. It's out of all the rehabilitation episodes, it's very memorable, it's very distinct, it's very different, and can go in the sick and wrong, but again, the only way she could ever reform, being through really out there sci-fi means. It's a really great episode in how in some, despite wanting to change, some villains can only do it on their own terms. That's kind of the big takeaway of like how Dini approached the rehabilitation episode, which is really interesting. Sick and wrong as it may be, it was a lot of fun. Mainly, I love Act 3 of this episode, and getting there is just a little bit like it's kind of like it's a fun little step back. Again, not high art, but it's like it's a lot of fun.
All right, take us out, Dragon.
Land, sea, air, oh my. The Wall Street crowd on a crime spree? Can Batman and Robin stop the triumvirate of the overclass? Will the episode live up to its namesake? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to the animated Batcave with the Terrible Trio. My ward.
What?